A very good Wednesday evening to you, and this is Primetime News coming to live on MTV Sports and Shakti TV from our Newsfirst Center here in Colombo. I'm Shahin Jirampati.
And I'm Minoshratna Sekara. First up, a look at your headlines tonight.
Child kidnapped from Katugampala Galgamuwa still missing.
ඉතින් කියන්න තියෙන්නේ මෙච්චරයි කොහේ හරි හංගලා හරි ඉන්නවා නම් ඉක්මනට එන්න දනින්න පුතේ අපි ඔයාලකම් බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා.
Junior health workers stage a sick note campaign. Protest march in Colombo. Clashes between two groups of doctors at the National Hospital Colombo. Minister Dilan Pereira responds to Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva's remarks on politicians and sport.
දේශපාලකයෝ ක්‍රීඩා සංගම් වලින් අයින් වෙන්න ඕනේ. ක්‍රීඩාව ක්‍රීඩකයින්ට බාර දෙන්න ඕනේ.
ක්‍රීඩාව කරලා නැති අයට අමාත්‍යාංශ කාර්යාලයේ විතර කාමරේ පැටලෙනවා.
In your top story tonight, the village of Katugampalagama in Migalava, Galgamuwa awaits with bated breath as no information has come to light with regard to the kidnapping of 4.5-year-old Yasin Laksant.
Now, it has been more than 48 hours since he was kidnapped, but what happened to him remains a mystery.
Students of Bulnav Preschool in Galgamuwa wait for Yasin Lankanath to occupy his usual seat. The wait, however, does not yield any result. A preschool teacher showed us the handwork done by Yasin a few days ago with tears in her eyes. It was abundantly clear that the abduction of Yasin has taken an emotional toll on his teachers as well.
This is Danindu's vacant chair at his preschool. It is here that he sits with his friends and learns his letters. The hope of these children and the entire nation is that Danindu will return to his vacant chair and embark on a journey to a successful life.
Yasin was identified as a proactive kid at school. Teachers at the preschool brand him as an outstanding student.
He's a very obedient student towards all teachers. His parents have the same good qualities. His elder sister schooled here for 2 years as well, and she is prepared to continue her education at this preschool. I request the entire country to help us bring back this child to us.
ඉතින් කියන්න තියෙන්නේ මෙච්චරයි කොහේ හරි හංගලා හරි ඉන්නවා නම් ඉක්මනට එන්න දනින්න පුතේ අපි ඔයාලකම් බලාගෙන ඉන්නවා.
As the anguish at the Bulnava preschool continues, teachers and parents of students here now expect a miracle to happen. The governing council at the preschool today decided to close the preschool tomorrow for academic activities and conduct religious observances to ensure the safe return of Yasin. Area residents who began arriving at the residence of Yasin Lankanath following his kidnapping were seen today as well, waiting for any kind of information.
We will pray for everyone if this child is returned unharmed to his parents with the blessings of the Triple Gem.
We are ready for any demand. Those were the words put up on posters in every nook and cranny in Katugampalagama. These words indicate the dire need of the parents to locate their missing child. No information has come to light on Yasin's whereabouts yet, and everyone has now moved their attention to God with hope and prayer.
A tense situation arose between two groups of doctors at the National Hospital this evening. Police media spokesperson SSP Ajit Jonas said that the police was dispatched for the security at the hospital.
A group of doctors were seen distributing handbills this morning as a mark of protest at the National Hospital. At the same time, another group of doctors were preparing to re-establish the National Hospital branch of the Government Medical Officers Association that had been disbanded over a year and a half ago. Specialist Dr. Nimal Ratnasena is said to be the chairperson of the branch association for the year 2014, and his associate doctors gathered at the West Room for the doctors. Minutes after the inauguration, another group of doctors stormed into the meeting. The tense situation escalated to a brawl among the two factions, and the police had to be called in to control the situation. The meeting was convened again at the hospital auditorium at 2 p.m., this time with police protection. At the meeting, it was decided to call for nominations in 2 weeks and conduct an election for office bearers.
A meeting which was planned by doctors attached to National Hospital had been abandoned due to unrest which occurred. Thereafter, the consultants of the National Hospital had a discussion with the administration, and later on they had the meeting at one of the auditoriums.
Now, a group of health sector employees held a sick note campaign today and engaged in a protest march in Colombo, citing 5 demands, including the settlement of salary arrears.
Now, the trade union action organized by the Health Service Joint Trade Unions Committee saw the participation of workers from 21 service grades.
The protest march commenced opposite the National Hospital in Colombo. Severe traffic congestion was reported on several roads in the Colombo city as a result of the protest march. The procession reached the Lake House roundabout via Dali Road and Dr. Vijayawardena Mawata with the purpose of reaching the Presidential Secretariat. The protesters were held back at Lotus Road owing to police barricades, from where several representatives were granted permission to proceed to the Presidential Secretariat. Meanwhile, hospital functions in several parts of the island were affected by the trade union action of health sector employees.
අන්තිමයි කියලා කියන්න තමයි තියෙන්නේ. කවුරුත් නෑ කවුන්ටර්ස් වල ලේ චෙක් කරන්න ගියා එතනත් නෑ. අම්මා දවස් 10ක් වෙනවා. අද කොළඹට ගෙනල්ලා. අද ඔපරේෂන් එකට ලියලා තිබ්බා. ඉතින් අපිට කරන්න දෙයක් නෑ මේ ටොලියක්වත් අල්ල කරගෙන යන්න කෙනෙක් නෑ කියලා.
එහෙම කරන්න එපා. මේ අපි අසරණ දුප්පත් මිනිස්සු බෙහෙත් ටික ගන්න සල්ලි නෑ.
මේ වෙනකන් ඉන්නා තවම කිසිම කෙනෙක් කිසිම දෙයක් නෑ.
ඇත්තටම අපි පාන්දර 5 ඉඳලා ළමයි පෝලිං වල තියාගෙන මේ ළමයි නිදි. ඇත්තටම හරිම අපහසුතාවයෙන් ඉන්නේ.
Health authorities took steps to provide services using security forces personnel. Director of the Kandy General Hospital, Dr. Saman Watnaira, said several units in the hospital were affected by the strike. This footage was captured from several hospitals across the island. As a government, it is difficult for us to take instantaneous decisions on a daily or weekly basis regarding overtime allowances. A large cost is incurred by the health service on behalf of the patients. I say that they must consider the innocent patients and reach some resolution through discussion.
Now, on a related note, the health trade unions charge that certain officials within the health ministry are in an attempt to disrupt the health sector for petty gains.
It is clear that officials are carrying out activities to topple the government. They are creating political friction against the government by forcing these workers onto the street. It is very clear what they want.
What is important is that this issue is something that can be solved. They could create a background which makes it unnecessary to engage in trade union actions by solving our issues. It is the health ministry that brings out unnecessary issues and turns them into a struggle. Why are they creating such issues? This is the question we have.
There is an unseen force in the midwifery service that wishes to disgrace the government and create trouble for the government. That is why we are unable to solve the issues of health workers through discussions.
After taking into consideration the plight of innocent patients, we attempted to solve our issues through discussions. We have had to face such battles due to the low level of interest shown by health ministry officials to solve our issues.
There is one person within the health ministry that we know of who intervened in GMOA matters. His presence usually leads to disputes between trade unions. We hope that the Ministry of Health will take a clear action with regard to this issue.
With you 24 hours a day. Verified, unbiased, balanced, fearless. www.newsfirst.lk. Best Web.lk Awards 2014. Silver Award, Best Media Website. Bronze Award, Best Tamil Website. We thank our loyal viewers for continuing to place your trust in us.
Your life, our news.
In more local news, 3 lives were lost in a road accident that occurred this evening in Maypitia, Kegol. The accident occurred at about 4:50 this evening when a bus plying from Avisarvilla to Kandy collided with a 3-wheeler at the Maypitia junction on the Kegol-Mavanala road. 3 of the 4 persons travelling in the 3-wheeler were killed, while the 4th, who sustained critical injuries, is being treated at the intensive care unit of the Kegol General Hospital.
Now, speaking at an event held in Halialla, Minister Dilan Pereira commented on the recent remarks made by House Leader Minister Nimal Siripala de Silva on Politico's family members entering politics and politicians' involvement in sport.
I have 2 policies in my politics. The first is that my family will not be involved in politics. I will not deprive talented young men and women in an area of the opportunity to engage in politics by unloading my relatives there. As a politician, I love and I support sports, but I will not take positions. I believe that politicians should remove themselves from sports associations and trust sport to the sportsmen.
Dilan Pereira, Badulla Cricket Sangamay Sabapatiwara.
Some persons are barking that they are against politicians holding positions in sports associations at a time when Dilan Pereira is building an indoor stadium as president of the Badulla Cricket Association. Those who have not played sports mistake the ministry office and the bedroom. None of my relatives are in politics, but we know that the relatives of some politicians enter politics without contesting elections. Our organizer in Mahiyangane has resigned, citing the intervention of the sister of one of our politicians. They came from above and not through elections. Do not tire of the preferential votes and then throw rocks from glass houses. Although you cover your nudity with your fingers, the nudity can be seen through your fingers. Everyone in this country knows the story of how some persons who were blacklisted for embezzling by the Highways Ministry later came through the back door and received the contract to build the Badulla Hospital building. It is not suitable now to unveil the agreements that were struck with the opposition leader while eating rice at Harin Fernando's dance salon Posonde. We can now see the people who are keeping a leg on each side to achieve only their aspirations.
Various views were expressed today regarding Minister Vimal Veeravangsa's statement that his National Freedom Front would contest the Uber Provincial Council election separate from the United People's Freedom Alliance.
Even if
the National Freedom Front contests the Uber Provincial Council polls alone, they are an allied party of the government. At the same time, you are aware that the problem is primarily with the Badulla district. This is because, as per the new law, there is a reduction in the number of candidates we can put forward in the Badulla district. There is no division between the government and our partners. It is a party that is a major strength of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party-led alliance. We will move forward with the agreement that we have with this party.
අපි පක්ෂයත් සමග තමයි ඉදිරියට අපි එකගතාවයකට අනුව තමයි වැඩ කරන්නේ. විමල් වීරවංශ ඇමතිවරයා ඌව බලා ගමන් කරන බස් එකේ
Minister Vimal Veeravangsa has disembarked from the bus to Uber and has decided to travel by cart. This decision should have been taken in the past. What the extremist gangs and groups that spread religious and ethnic division in the country want to do is to stay within the government and show that their views are the views of the general public and the government. I wish to tell those groups to please get off the bus and travel alone, be it by cart, plane or train. They are targeting the single people in the Uber province and we can see the response that the people will give them. This is good.
චම්පි කරනවගත් ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා ආණ්ඩුවට විරුද්ධව හකිම් මාත්‍ය ප්‍රකාශ කරනවා ආණ්ඩුවට විරුද්ධව රිෂාඩ් මාත්‍ය
Champika Ranawaka, Hakim and Rishad are all speaking against the government, but they are doing it from within the government. Not one of them are leaving the government to say this. Vimal Veeravangsa is a contractor for the government. What he is doing is showing the country that he is against the government, so he can get some votes and rejoin the government. He says that they reached a decision as the National Freedom Front to contest alone when their conditions were not met.
අපේ කොන්දේසි වලට අරගෙන නැති වුණාම අපි තීන්දුවක් ගත්තා ජාතික නිදහස් පෙරමුණ හැටියට අපි තනියම තරඟ කරන්න. අන්න වරින් පුතේ අපි තාමත්ම සන්තෝෂයි එළියට එන්න සූරලා බලමු කොහමද තියෙන්නේ කියලා ජයග්‍රහණී.
Welcome back to the news. Up next is Action TV.
යම් කිසි අයෙක් මම
If any person proves tomorrow that I sent such a fax message to the Commission of Examinations and had questions changed, then I will carry out the task of seeking the forgiveness of the Supreme House, including the opposition members, the very next day.
Minister Bandula Gunawardena made this statement in Parliament on the 5th of June, 23 days after a group of 39 university lecturers who have been functioning as advanced level economic examiners for an extended period of time alleged in a joint statement that the Commissioner General of Examinations was conducting withdrawal examinations with political motivations. At a media briefing held today too, we questioned the minister on the matter.
There has been no response, and as the minister tasked with upholding this sacred task of examinations, I do not hope in the real world or in the dream world, in this life or the next, to intervene in that process, whether it is proper or improper.
However, a university professor exposed an instance where the minister had interfered in the preparation of an advanced level economics question paper.
On the 19th of October 2012, the Chief Examiners meeting for the 2012 Advanced Level New Syllabus Examination was held at the new auditorium of Royal College, Colombo. After the question papers were discussed, an employee of the Department of Examinations brought a message reportedly from the minister to the meeting hall. It was a fax message which the Examiners Board rejected.
They did not accept it. There has been interference, and I think all 110 people who were there at the time will prove it. This is a crime. I am not a person who usually says such things. I do not know whether facts were sent to some rogue. If something that happened in 2012 is being brought up in 2014 and it is not proven, it is clear that somebody is operating behind this. If it is not proven, what I can do is, if you publish his statement, then I will lodge a complaint with the IGP. I will go to the Criminal Investigations Department and ask them to conduct a comprehensive investigation into this, considering it a crime committed against me. People can lie, but there is no way in which they can lie in this way.
The prevailing drought in many parts of the island has parched livestock and wildlife in these areas as well.
That's right, the fauna in the Hambantota district are amongst the worst affected.
Dairy cows in the Hambantota district are dying owing to the lack of food and water. Our reporter says the situation is most prevalent in the administrative divisions of Tissamaharama, Lunugambehera and Hambantota. The Tissamaharama administrative division is believed to be the worst affected. Several reservoirs in the area have already dried up.
About 25 of my animals have died. I have no livelihood. We cannot herd animals either. It has come to a situation where we can no longer live.
Farmers say that the situation has been aggravated as a result of the failure to develop the 1,500 hectare Amarababa grassland allocated by the government for dairy farmers and the unauthorized cultivation that is taking place on this land.
They have failed as yet to remove unauthorized persons from this land and provide basic infrastructure.
In many parts of the district, paddy crops have already been harvested.
After the paddy is harvested, we take the cattle to graze. There is no way we can take them now because the fields are being set on fire and the cattle cannot eat the grass.
Meanwhile, the people of Hambegamua, Alutwava and Lihinigala have been affected by wild elephants encroaching on their villages in search of food and water. Our reporter says encroaching wild elephants have damaged 7 homes and taken 1 life this month alone.
I was attacked by an elephant while riding my bicycle. Fortunately, it did not strike. Our lives are more valuable than protecting the fields.
Area residents say wild elephants are able to enter villages as the construction of the Dahiyagala electric fence in Udavalava has been halted midway and the fence has been improperly maintained.
This is a time when election promises are renewed in the Uva province. Among those promises are dealing with the wild elephant threat. However, the relevant authorities have as yet been unable to provide a sustainable solution.
And on business news tonight, the International Monetary Fund says that caution should be exercised by the government and banks when obtaining loans on commercial terms.
In a news release issued after considering and endorsing the staff appraisal of the IMF's Article 4 consultation and second post-program monitoring discussion with Sri Lanka, the IMF notes that this could have an adverse impact on foreign reserves and economic growth.
The International Monetary Fund says that Sri Lanka's economic growth has been one of the fastest among Asia's developing economies in recent years. The IMF also notes that inflation, which stood at 4.7% last year, has been successfully reduced to about 3.2%. According to the IMF, with the continued robust export performance, the current account deficit is expected to narrow further and allow for some additional accumulation of international reserves. Medium-term risk, according to the IMF, center on the potential for slower than projected growth in the advanced economies, tight external liquidity conditions and chronic turbulence in international capital markets, and continued weakness in government revenues, which could threaten fiscal and debt consolidation objectives. The IMF notes that recent improvements in the trade and current account balances notwithstanding, Sri Lanka remains vulnerable to external shocks. It also adds that adverse climatic events such as the recent drought remain a chronic source of vulnerability.
A relic of St. Sebastian, which was stolen from St. Sebastian's Church in Kandana, has been returned to the church.
That's right. The police say that the suspect arrested in connection with the incident was produced before the Negombo Magistrates Court, following which he was placed in remand custody until the 6th of August.
The thief had allegedly broken into St. Sebastian's Church in Kandana last night, shattered the glass casing and made off with the monstrance or ostensorium holding the relic. I heard a noise like someone breaking the casing and I shouted, "Thief! Thief!" We went onto the road and saw the thief on a bicycle. He pointed a pistol at us. When he threatened to shoot, we moved away. We followed in a three-wheeler and he dumped his bicycle and ran. He used the things in his hands to attack the three-wheeler. We ran him into the drain. Area residents had then handed over the suspect to the police. The relics of St. Sebastian, who lived between 256 and 288 Anno Domini, are placed in Rome, Italy. The hand relic of St. Sebastian was brought to Sri Lanka from St. Anthony's Basilica in Padua on the 12th of January and was placed in St. Sebastian's Church, Kandana. The police returned the stolen relic to the church this morning.
Tonight, Newsfirst takes a look at the development taking place in the heart of the southern province, Galle.
The Galle Fort was first built by the Portuguese colonists in 1588, making it an important landmark in the south of Sri Lanka. The fort changed hands later on, and its new owners, the Dutch, restructured the fort and extensively fortified it by the 17th century. The Galle Fort, a significant structure in Sri Lanka history, did not see any form of renovation for centuries and gradually fell into dilapidation. Today, the Galle Fort still manages to attract tourists thanks to development that had taken place protecting its historical glory. The new restoration sees the removal of structures built in an improper manner and the construction of pathways and lighting, and also the painting of the structures in a single attractive color. This is the hospital of the Dutch fort, located close to the ocean. Come August, this unique building will be a boutique for the sale of jewelry, clothing and sweets. The new look will be open for the public from next month and will also be a place to relax for the visitors. The Urban Development Authority spearheaded the restoration and also utilized the labor of armed forces to add a new look and beautify the Galle Fort.
On to the Commonwealth Games in Glasgow, where Australia dominates the medals table with 34 gold medals to its name, while England are in a close second place with 33 gold medals. Well, turning our attention to some of the events in which Sri Lanka emerged victorious, Sri Lanka's Niluka Karunaratne managed to secure his place in the best qualifying round of 16 badminton event, today defeating Ghana's Abraham Aite.
Sri Lanka's Niluka Karunaratne took part in the men's singles match this morning in Glasgow against Abraham Aite and won the game 2-0. With this win, Niluka proceeded to the round of 32 and defeated Nashiu Sharafuddin 2-0. Niluka proceeds to the round of 16 and will face India's Srikanth Kidambi tomorrow. Meanwhile, Sri Lanka's Bhuvaneka Dullava suffered a 2-0 defeat at the hands of Malaysia's Chong Wei Feng. As a result of this loss, Dullava will not move into the round of 16. Ashini Ratnasiri too failed to advance in the women's singles in badminton, suffering a 2-1 loss to Michelle Chan of New Zealand. However, Dinuka Karunaratne, Tilini Hendaheva and Nadisha Gayanti proceeded to the round of 16 in their singles category.
Well, it was definitely an action-packed day 7 of Glasgow Games 2014. We had several qualifying rounds in which Sri Lanka emerged victorious, with Dinuka Karunaratne winning the badminton qualifying round of 16 event against Michael Falk of New Zealand. More good news coming in for Sri Lanka as badminton player 17-year-old Tilini Hendaheva qualifies the round of 16 against 50-year-old Gary Terry of Norfolk Island. Well, left-handed Ashini Ratnasiri fell short of victory in just a couple of points behind Michelle Chan 2-1 after she was defeated 2-1 against the New Zealand national. Well, taking a look at some of the major events that take place later on in the day, Shiromali Weeraratne, who defeated the Lesotho national yesterday in the 69-kilogram weight category under 49 seconds, will go head-to-head against Nigeria's Edith Ogoke later on in the day. MTV Sports will have a live feed on that later on. Well, Sri Lanka's favourite Nadika Lakmali with a lifetime best of 16 meters will be contesting the final round of javelin throw today later on. Tune in to MTV Sports as we keep you on the know of all the latest as and when it unfolds at Glasgow 2014. Back to you.
Well, with that, we wrap up tonight's edition of Primetime News. It's a pleasure having you with us. For the Newsfirst team, I'm Minoshi Ratnasekaran.
And I'm Shaheen Jurangpati. Good night and take care.